$15 million, and every cent rested on a coupon worth 1 penny. That's the number that toppled the most famous man in Boston. This clipping waited years for a front page. Tonight, it gets one, but the front page can wait. First, reader, watch a pencil beat a millionaire. Summer 1920. Boston lines up around the block to hand one man their savings. His name is on every tongue, his smile in every paper. So here's the question you stayed for. How do a 1-cent coupon and a column of small type topple a millionaire? No gun, no badge. Watch the coupon. Meet Charles Ponzi. He landed in America years back with a few dollars and a wide smile, worked a dozen jobs, then found the pitch of a lifetime. From a little office on School Street, he made one promise. Hand me your money. Collect 50% in 45 days. 50 in 6 weeks. Today's rate, meet the people in that line. A young dockhand earned about $20 a week. Today, priced by labor, call it roughly $700. He and his wife had saved for 2 years. Ponzi promised to double it by autumn. At the kitchen table, they decided to believe him. So what was the pitch? Postal reply coupons. Buy one cheap in Rome, redeem it dearer in Boston. Real money from the Gap. On paper, legal, even clever. Freeze the frame. Look hard at this coupon, reader. 1 cent of paper. Remember it. What it hides stays under my hat. Now, the truth in this town always shows up small first. Years back, in another country, this same charmer had done time for forging a signature. A paper printed at once, page 14, 6-point type, buried. Boston never read it. Boston read his smile. The small print would keep. And oh, how it worked. Money came in wheelbarrows. Clerks, cops, priests, everyone bought in. In months, he pulled in $15 million, bought a mansion, bought a bank, rolled a diamond-topped cane in the light. Half of Boston danced to his tune. They didn't call him a swindler, they called him a wizard. Clipping 1. Ponzi doubles your money. The whole city's in line. At the peak, $1 million a week poured through that little office. And here's the catch that kept him safe. Everybody got paid. Nobody complained. A fraud with no angry victim is the hardest thing on earth to prove. You didn't open tonight's edition to watch a man get rich. You want to watch him fall. And so do I, reader. So look closely. For all his coupon talk, Ponzi kept his money in plain bank accounts, not a dollar in the scheme he sold. The wizard didn't trust his own trick. Clipping 2. Who is Ponzi? Asked the Boston Post. An editor read the numbers the city cheered and didn't clap. He put a reporter on it and a pencil. Clarence Barron, a financial man who never risked a cent, he only counted. The Post asked him one question: do the coupons actually work? And the number he found. Barron's arithmetic said 160 million of those penny coupons had to be moving through the mails. He checked. On the whole earth, barely a scrap existed. The empire ran on a coupon that wasn't there, and now Barron had it in ink, on paper. Clipping 3. Doubts raised on Ponzi's millions. July 26th, the Post ran Barron's arithmetic on page 1. The small print had climbed toward the front. For the first time, a crack. Watch that long line. A few looked up from the morning paper and quietly stepped out of it. But the wizard wasn't done. He sued the Post for millions, threw his arms open to the reporters, and grinned. I give people hope. The city grinned back. Ponzi rolled his cane and dared them. Let the ones who can count, count. One old analyst already had. For a few days, nothing moved. The front page said one thing. The line on School Street said another. Our dockhand stood in that line, the envelope of savings warm in his pocket, listening to the man ahead swear Ponzi had never missed a payment. Hope is a hard number to argue with. Barron's figure sat on the editor's desk, correct and unwanted. Right, and too quiet to matter. Every hour, the office on School Street took in more. The reporters waited. The sum was finished. The city just hadn't read it yet. Somewhere, one page was about to turn, and the page turned from the inside. William McMasters, Ponzi's own publicity man, the very fellow paid to polish his name, got a look at the real columns. What he saw sickened him. He didn't run to the police. He walked into the Boston Post with a pencil and the plain truth. August 2nd, the Post handed its front page to Ponzi's own Herald. The headline was, "McMaster's verdict," in his own words. Ponzi is hopelessly insolvent. By his count, the man was at least $2 million in the hole. The publicist buried his own boss 10 days after taking the job. Now the slow machinery turned. Auditors opened the columns. The state counted along. And those Post reporters kept digging until they found it. An old prison photograph from another country, that buried page 14 story, dragged back into the light. Dates, a signature, a notary's stamp. The past had kept its appointment. Hold the presses. The city's in the street. Morning, School Street. The same crowd that came to hand money in now claws to get it out. Passbooks in the air. A boy waves the extra edition over his head. The little office bolts its doors. Listen close. The line runs backward now. And now the front page waits no longer, reader. That 6-point whisper from page 14 is a banner 2 inches tall. Ponzi jailed. Millions gone. The arithmetic the city wouldn't read is above the fold. In type you could see across the street. For that reporting, the Post would take journalism's highest honor. Ponzi gave himself up that August. No chase, no shots, just a small man in a good suit walking in. The charge that stuck wasn't the coupons, it was the mails he'd used to sell them. Guilty. The scheme that ran on paper was buried by paper. His empire went under the hammer. Today's rate? The last one. You remember the penny coupon I told you to hold? Here's what it hid. To make the millions real, 160 million had to be moving through the mails. On the whole earth, only about 27,000 ever existed. The empire rested on a coupon that wasn't there. Here's the sum of it, from a man who sets type for a living. The number that buried Ponzi was never hidden. It sat in plain sight all summer in 6-point type, waiting for one pencil to add it up. The front page always had the answer. It just ran it small. Ponzi lived on. That's the part the movies skip. Years in a cell, then a ship back to Italy in 1934, the famous smile gone thin. He could sell hope by the bushel. Pity the only buyer left was himself. He spent his last years broke, reading other men's front pages. And the people in that line? Those who read the front page in time walked out with their savings whole. The rest got pennies back. But the machine that would have swallowed thousands more was stopped cold by arithmetic and ink. Tell me in the comments, could Ponzi have been caught sooner or never? Fresh ink dries fast, reader. A false number dries faster. 1 penny coupon, 1 column of type, 1 man who bothered to count. In the next edition, a reporter whose story got bought and buried by the very man it named. Subscribe, your copy's already being set. This edition is put to bed.